Hare Krishna. Welcome all the devotees for today's session on Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we are continuing with the second canto, seventh chapter, and we are going to be seeing
Schedule
Loka number.
Incarnation, Shloka number 3. Sorry.
Hare
Uh,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. In this shloka, we can understand the secret of the Avatāra-tattva, the teaching of the
Lord Kapila
Lord.
and the path of pure
Uh,
devotional service.
mm,
Om
mm, mm.
Namo Bhagavate
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिः भवति नैष्टिकी. हरे कृष्णा. श्लोक क्रमांक 3, चैप्टर 7, शेड्यूल इन्कार्नेशन, कैंटो 2. जत्ते च कर्दम गृहे द्विजदेव उत्तम
जग्गे च कर्दम गृहे द्विजदेवहूत्याम्
श्रीभिः समं नवभिः आत्मगतिं स्वमात्रे
त्रिभिः समं नवभिः आत्मगतिं स्वमात्रे
ऊचेया आत्मशमलं गुणसङ्गपङ्कम्
ऊचे ययात्मशमलं गुणसङ्गपङ्कम्
कपिलस्य गतिं प्रपेदे.
अस्मिन् विधूय कपिलस्य गतिं प्रपेदे
जग्गे च कर्दम गृहे द्विजदेवहूत्याम्
जग्गे च कर्दम गृहे द्विजदेवहूत्याम्
श्रीभिः समं नवभिः आत्मगतिं स्वमात्रे
स्त्रीभिः समं नवभिः आत्मगतिं स्वमात्रे
ऊचेया आत्मशमलं गुणसङ्गपङ्कम्
ऊजेययात्मशमलं गुणसङ्गपङ्कम्
अस्मिन् विधूय कपिलस्य गतिं प्रपेदे.
अस्मिन् विधूय कपिलस्य गतिं प्रपेदे
जग्गे च कर्दम गृहे द्विजदेवहूत्याम्
जग्गे च कर्दम गृहे द्विजदेवहूत्याम्
श्रीभिः समं नवभिः आत्मगतिं स्वमात्रे
स्त्रीभिः समं नवभिः आत्मगतिं स्वमात्रे
ऊचेयया आत्मशमलं गुणसङ्गपङ्कम्
ऊचेययात्मशमलं गुणसङ्गपङ्कम्
अस्मिन् विधूय कपिलस्य गतिं प्रपेदे.
अस्मिन् विधूय कपिलस्य गतिं प्रपेदे.
Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Lord then appeared as the Kapil incarnation, being the son of the Prajapati Brahmana Kardam and his wife Devhuti. Along with 9 other women sisters, he spoke to his mother about self-realization, by which in that very lifetime she became fully cleansed of the mud of the material modes and thereby achieved liberation, the path of Kapila. Purport. The instructions of the Lord Kapila to his mother Devhuti are fully described in the third canto, chapter 25 to 32 of Srimad Bhagavatam. And anyone who follows the instructions can achieve the same liberation obtained by Devhuti. A Lord spoke Bhagavad Gita, and thereby Arjuna achieved self-realization. And even today, anyone who follows the path of Arjuna can also attain the same benefit as Sri Arjuna. The scriptures are meant for this purpose. Foolish, unintelligent person make their own interpretation by imagination and thus mislead their followers, causing them to remain in the dungeon of material existence. However, simply by following the instructions imparted by Lord Krishna or Lord Kapila, one can obtain the highest benefit even today. The word Ātma-gatiḥ is significant in the sense of perfect knowledge. of the Supreme. One should not be satisfied simply by knowing the qualitative equality of the Lord and the living being. One should know the Lord as much as can be known by our limited knowledge. It is impossible for the Lord to be known perfectly as He is, even by such liberated person as Shiva or Brahma. So, what to speak of other demigods or men in this world? Still, by following the principles of the great devotee is and the instructions available in the scriptures, one can know to considerable extent the features of the Lord. His Lordship Kapila, the incarnation of the Lord, instructed his mother fully about the personal form of the Lord, and thereby she realized the personal form of the Lord and was able to achieve a place in the Vaikuntha Loka, where Lord Kapila predominates. Every incarnation of the Lord has his own abode in spiritual sky. Therefore, Lord Kapila also has his separate Vaikuntha planet. The spiritual sky is not wide. There are innumerable Vaikuntha planets, and in each of them, the Lord, by his innumerable expansions, predominates, and the pure devotees who are there also live in the same style as the Lord and his eternal associates. When the Lord descends personally or by his personal plenary expansion, such incarnations are called aṁśa, kala, guna, yuga, and manvantara incarnations. And when the Lord's associates descend by the order of the Lord, such incarnations are called uh, Shaktavesh incarnation. But in all cases, all the incarnations are supported by invaluable statements of the authorized scripture and not by any imagination of some self interested propagandist. Such incarnations of the Lord in either of the above categories always declare the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be the ultimate truth. The impersonal conception of the Supreme Truth is just a process of negation of the form of the Lord from the mundane conception of the Supreme Truth.
இப்ப
The living
பரவாயில்ல
entity.
உனக்கு எல்லாம் பெட்டரா இருக்குல்ல அந்த பொண்ணு கர்ப்பவாய்க்குள்ள
Hare
இருக்கு
Krishna,
கீழே
Hare
சிஸ்டர் இருக்கமா
Krishna,
உனக்கு
Hare Krishna,
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 Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Ram
Ram
Ram,
Ram,
Hare.
Hare Hare.
The living entities, by their very constitution, are spiritually as good as the Lord, and the only difference between them is that the Lord is always supreme and pure, without contamination by the modes of material nature, whereas the living entities are apt to be contaminated by association with the material modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. This contamination by the material modes can be washed off completely by knowledge, renunciation, and devotional service. Devotional service to the Lord is the ultimate issue, and therefore, those who are directly engaged in the devotional service of the Lord not only acquire the necessary knowledge in spiritual science but also attain detachment from material connection and are thus promoted to the kingdom of God by complete liberation, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 14.26. मम च अय मम च यः अव्यभिचारिण अव्यभिचारेण भक्ति योगेन सेवते स गुणान् समतीति एतान् ब्रह्म भूयाय कल्पते. Even in the non-liberated stage, a living entity can be directly engaged in the transcendental loving service of the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, or his plenary expansions like Ram and Narsimha. Thus, with the proportionate improvement of the transcendental devotional service, the devotee make definite progress toward Brahmagatim or Ātma-gatiḥ and ultimately against Kapilasya gatim or the abode of the Lord without difficulty. The antiseptic potency of devotional service to the Lord is so great that it can neutralize the material infection even in the present life of a devotee. A devotee does not need to wait for his next birth for complete liberation. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितमेन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवाञ्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्विताञ्च नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण। Today we continuing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2nd, Chapter 7, Schedule Incarnation, and we try to understand Shloka Kramanka 3. In this Shloka, the here describing about the uh, incarnation of the Lord uh, Kapil Bhagwan, who is the son of the Kardama Muni and Devahūti Mata, and he gave the Sāṅkhya philosophy and give mother about which he spoke about self-realization, and in that lifetime, Devahūti Mata became fully cleansed of the mud of the material modes, and she achieved the liberation, and she went in the abode of the Kapila's Dham. From this we understand, or we know that every incarnation of the Lord has a separate abode, and which uh, taking the shelter of that incarnation, they go there. That we know from this uh, shloka. Prabhuji will tell again nicely. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, what we are looking as maybe is the secret of Avatāra-tattva. We are looking specifically at the teachings of Lord Kapila, which guides us on the path of pure devotion. Lord Kapila is the aṁśa-avatāra of Śrī Kṛṣṇa, the plenary portion. He appeared as the son of Kardama Muni and Devahūti, and to his mother, he imparted knowledge of self-realization through Sāṅkhya-yoga. As Mataji mentioned, we are going to be studying it further in the third canto, chapter 25 to 32. So, any sincere practitioner who follows these teachings can also achieve liberation, just as Devahūti attained. So, what Kapila's path is actually the pure gateway to liberation. Lord Kapila revealed to his mother profound truths about the soul, material nature, devotion, and supersoul. So, for the four subjects which he touched is soul, supersoul, material nature, and devotion. And his instructions were not merely philosophical, but they were practical, deeply practical. And because of that, it enabled his mother to attain liberation in that very same lifetime. So, what we understand from this is that Real liberation comes through synthesis of bhakti and jnana, devotion plus knowledge together. And this is what is important for Ātma-gatiḥ, the soul journey to perfection. Now, Ātma-gatiḥ is the word which refers to this journey to the ultimate destination, that is surrender unto the Supreme Lord. Simply knowing that the soul and the supersoul are qualitatively one is not sufficient. We also need to know what is the nature of each one and what is the role that they are playing in the broader context of service to Krishna. Lord is eternally pure, transcendental, untouched by material modes, whereas the jiva can be contaminated by association with matter. Hence, the Lord is always supreme and jiva is always inferior. Whoever follows Lord Kapila's instructions, it is said that he or she attains the same perfection as Devahūti. Lord Kapila made it very clear that only by the practice of devotion, knowledge, and renunciation is liberation from the bondage of the material modes possible. So, he's talking in this Sāṅkhya-yoga of all three to be done. That is devotional service, jnāna, knowledge, as well as renunciation. Now, if you look at the spiritual abodes, each and every incarnation has an abode. Each avatar of the Lord possesses eternal abode in the spiritual sky. Lord Kapila also has his unique Vaikuntha planet, where he eternally resides with his pure devotees. So the Vaikuntha is not void. Its realm is full of variety and activity, which is eternal home of the Lord and his eternal associates. And the ultimate is the Golok Vrindavan, where we have Krishna present in the form of Shama Sundar. So, what is being discussed are two kinds of avataras, the Nitya avataras, which eternally dwell in the supreme abode and descend from there at will, and the Naimittika avataras, which manifest from time to time for a specific purpose. Now, this knowledge is important, but along with this knowledge, what is important is purity of devotion for the liberation in this life. The antiseptic power of pure bhakti is so great that it eradicates material contamination even in the present lifetime itself. So, a devotee does not need to wait for another birth. If he serves sincerely, then liberation is assured here and now. One more question which Prabhupada ji touches about in the purport and which comes about in this shloka is, can God be fully known? Now it is very clear that the Lord can never be completely known, not even by great liberated souls like Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva. But still, by faithfully following Shastra and the footsteps of great devotees, one can realize aspects of his transcendental features. And that is where we find the profound results of Lord Kapila's bhakti. Devahūti not only attained self-realization, but also directly experienced the personal form of the Lord. And this experiential realization is the highest goal of all devotion and culmination of devotional service. Now, it's not that the scriptures talk about only Devahūti. There are scriptural parallels in terms of, say, Arjuna and even modern practitioners. Like Arjuna, he attained self-realization through Krishna's instructions on the Gita. And Devahūti attained liberation through Lord Kapila. Similarly, it is said, so can any sincere person who follows the teachings today can attain the same fruit. Till Prabhupada in fact says, to the degree one surrenders, the Lord reveals himself accordingly. And this statement has a direct connection with the 11th shloka of 4th chapter, where it is mentioned, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tatha eva bhajami mama vartamanu anuvartante manushyaha partha sarvashaha. So Krishna says, as all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Partha. And something similar we already studied in this series in the 17th shloka of the 8th chapter of first canto. Brahma teja vinah mukti atma-gatiḥ sa Krishnaya prayana abhimukham Krishnam idam aha prutha sati. So, saved from the radiation of the Brahmastra, Kunti, the chaste devotee of the Lord, and her 5 sons, and Draupadi addressed Lord Krishna as he started for home. Now look at Krishna. He reciprocates the dependence of the devotee. One should not therefore look for help from imperfect living beings or demigods, but one should look for all help from Lord Krishna, who is competent to save his devotee. Such a chaste devotee also never asks the Lord for help, but the Lord, out of his own accord, is always anxious to render it. So, the very purpose of the scriptures is this, that is, to bring the sadhaka to the supreme goal. And the way, the path of real transformation is bhakti. Simply by following the instructions of Krishna or Lord Kapila, anyone can attain threefold auspicious gains. And they're very rare. What are those? One, spiritual wisdom. Second is detachment from material entanglements. And third is ultimate shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. So what we are looking at is the curative effect of service. Devotional service acts as a divine medicine that cures material miseries in this very life. And waiting for the next birth is therefore not necessary, and we no longer remain bonded in this material world. We are able to remember Krishna at the end of our life, at the last moment. And when we do it as promised by Krishna, we get out of this material life cycle. Antakale cha mam eva smaran muktva kalevaram. So this is all that Lord Kapila has been trying to tell, and he also tries to make us understand about God's fullness and our limitations. No one can fully measure the Lord's greatness. Yet, through scriptures and the guidance of saints, we can realize his transcendental nature to some extent. So, the way the Mayavadi delusion is seen, Prabhupada says that what they do is a straw man argument. Now, some claim that the Lord's body is material, and this is a false argument. And that is why straw man fallacy. What it means? A false argument that hides the real subject. Because the Lord's form is Satchidananda, completely spiritual. His name, forms, pastimes, even the abode, they're all transcendental. And as stated in the scriptures, Shiksha and Diksha Gurus, they are of equal importance. Now we can refer to Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, first chapter itself, 35th and 57th shloka to understand this. Because if you don't understand this and dismiss this by calling it informal, then that also is a straw man fallacy. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is mentioned, Mantra Guru Arayata Shiksha Guru Gana Tahara Charana Age Kariye Vandana. I first offer my respectful obeisances at the lotus feet of initiating spiritual master and all my instructing spiritual masters. And then in the 41 shloka, there is a mention Shiksha Guru, sorry, Shiksha Guru Kete Jani Krishnera Swarup Antaryami Bhakta Shrestha Yei Dui Rupa. One should know the instructing spiritual master to be the personality of Krishna. Lord Krishna manifests himself as the Supersoul and as the greatest devotee of the Lord. So this is very important to understand because Lord Kapil Dev tells that we should have practicalities along with theoretical knowledge, jnana. Even the letters which Srila Prabhupada ji wrote to his disciples, they carry profound wisdom in regard to this shloka. Like once Prabhupada ji wrote to his disciples like Indrani, Ekyayani and Tejas. So there it is mentioned that spiritual science reveals itself in the heart according to the devotee's surrender. And hence Prabhupada ji says in that 1970 July letter, chant sincerely, follow the rules, read scriptures thoroughly, and serve faithfully. Then the Lord Himself will open the path for all of us. And what is that path? Surrender to Krishna. And then we also see the Lord's reciprocation. Krishna says in the 11th shloka of 4th chapter, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamiham mam vartamani anuvartante manushya partha sarvasha. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects. So the highest instructions is Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. Surrender exclusively to Krishna. Complete surrender is the path which Lord Kapil Dev is recommending. And that is where you find the relationship between Krishna consciousness and peace. Because whenever there is Krishna consciousness, there is true peace. By practicing chanting, kirtan, service, association of devotees, one experiences real happiness and prosperity. So the conclusion, we have to walk the path of Kapila. In the path of devotion, we have to proceed with proper nourishment, practice, cultivation. All answers will be obtained by self-study of the scriptures and the teachings of the Gurujan. Continuously practicing patiently. Krishna himself will reveal that path from within. Devotional service to the Lord is highest goal of life. It naturally bestows knowledge, renunciation, and self-purification. And by sincerely following the path of devotional service as taught by Lord Kapila, we can sincerely harmonize bhakti, jnana, and vairagya, and thereby purify our senses. So his teachings are not only historical but eternally relevant. Whoever follows them will certainly attain the Kapilasya Gatim, the abode of Lord Kapila in Vaikuntha. So the essence, devotion to Lord, combined with knowledge and detachments, frees one from birth, death, and all material objectives, leading one directly to the eternal service of the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.